What's going on, everybody? It's Edward Davis from Checkmate Sports, and welcome to Sports Agent Secrets. I'm here with an amazing individual, Mr. Cord Parks. Welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
Hey, man, it's good. It's a good time to be here. I'm happy to be here with my boy, with my dog from Stone Mountain.
Yes, sir.
Doing many things. We about to have a great discussion.
Well, without further ado, man, let's go ahead and get into it.
Whoa, that money clip us now, the new now looks like. Whoa, upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like. Whoa, 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 whoa.
What's going on, everybody? It's Edward Davis from Checkmate Sports, and today's episode is sponsored by, guess who? Checkmate Sports. If you want to become a professional sports agent in as little as 30 days without going to law school, without inside connections, and without some difficult certification exam, then the Sports Agent Masterclass is for you. Click the link below under this video and sign up now. Take care. All right, Cord, again, welcome to the show, man. But before we get into it, I just want you to tell the people your backstory so that they can know a little bit about you.
Hey, man. So, Cord Parks, born and raised here in Atlanta. Went from Brownsmill Elementary School to Chapel Hill Middle School. Ended up over at Stone Mountain High School, where I ran track and played football.
Okay.
Excelled there for my 4 years there playing, and was blessed enough to receive a full ride to go play up at Northeastern University.
Okay.
Was heavily recruited, but had an interesting journey in that process when recruiting and stuff like that. Just being, first gen in my family to ever go through it, but also to see like friends like Brad Lester and people like that. So I had some folks around that kind of help, who had some insight on recruiting and stuff like that. But ended up choosing to go to Northeastern just due to the fact that it was the only school that was going to allow me to major in mechanical engineering and play football.
Gotcha. Okay.
And a chance for me to really go in and play right away.
Right.
So I get up there, spend my time playing, and you know what? Actually, that was really my first bit of adversity that I faced.
Okay.
Like all through like my childhood playing park ball all the way up to college, I really had I guess you can call it like a model life. Like I did what I was supposed to do, went to school, got the grades, did my thing through high school because I figured out a system on how to, do it. I did my work in class, and then, we'll go home and, do whatever else I needed to do.
Made it work for you.
Yeah. But what I didn't know at the time was that I was actually creating a bad habit because I didn't know how to study. So when I got to college, I actually was on academic probation the whole time. Wow. From day one. From day one. Okay. My first semester in, boom. Okay. I failed calculus. Okay. And anybody that know engineering is all math. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But coming from the South, I didn't know that majority of the kids up north, I would say above like the Mason-Dixon line. So like probably from, Delaware and up, they went to schools that had engineering prep programs. Okay. So Northeastern at the time was a one AA program. Okay. So we played Richmond, James Madison, Maine, University of Mass. We was in the A10. Okay. And then it switched to the CAA. So yeah, I excelled. Started as a true freshman. Like I said, on academic probation the whole time. Right. Go through my few years, and that's when I really started learning like the business of college football. Okay. And how the guy who recruited me, I ended up not really, what I'm saying, liking him, what I'm saying? Because, oftentimes the coaches come into our homes and they tell our parents, oh yeah, we're gonna take good care of them. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Right. And it's what's told to get you there, and then when you get there, it's a totally different person. You know that. It's like you like, man, you're not the dude that came into my house. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I get up there, I do that, and also too, both of my parents lose their jobs soon as I go to college. Wow. So I had a different experience. Like I ended up having to get a part-time job on campus, like all that kind of stuff to balance out life that was going on back at home, plus you know what I'm saying, being a student athlete, and like really having to be a student athlete. And so when both my parents, I actually ended up staying up at school the whole time. Like I came home and visit maybe like once or twice. Okay. But after that, I stayed up at campus. I worked. I had some dope guys, in the facility department that used to look out, stuff like that. Had a a friend by the name of Marianne. Like, you know, if I want to stay around, had a family to be with to eat for holidays and stuff like that. And then going to like my third year, it was me and a tight end. And this tight end, Brian Mandeville, he was being highly recruited by the league. Like the league was coming, but they would do workouts with him and me. Okay. So this is, you know, like my junior year. So I did like I ran my 40, all that kind of stuff my junior year. And it's funny because when I ran my 40, I ran track in college too. Okay. So they came to our indoor facility and but I ran it in my spikes, and you know you're not supposed to. Right. So the first time I ran so fast, they was like, something ain't right. So then they made me go back and run it, and I ran it again. It didn't change much of my time, but they kind of tried to use it against me a little bit. Right. So what they ended up doing was they ended up taking my time and averaging it. Oh. Wow. So they added like I think I ended up running like a 4. I ran like a 4.38, and they ended up adding like a 10. So it came up to like a 4.5 flat. Wow. Because of that. Right. It didn't really hurt nothing, but it was just, I started to understand, like, dang, like, why they tripping off that? Like, oh yeah, you ran in spikes. I'm like, and then they was like, oh, you ran out of a 4-point stance. So they kept like adding stuff into it. So I'll never forget, I finished my senior year. I come back home because Northeastern was a 5-year school. Okay. So you do your first year, your second year, then you do like a internship in the middle. Okay. Where you go, you get paid, like it's a real job in your field and in your industry. So after I did my senior year, I'm like, football over with. Let me come back home and see what the engineering field has to offer back in Atlanta. And a teammate of mine, mom worked at Delta. Okay. And I was like, okay, that's a chance for me to get some flight benefits and work. So I was working up at Tech Ops. Okay. And then my mom, I was like, I think I'm done. I'm gonna just shut it down. I ain't getting no calls. But the year before, a scout from the Rams, when I worked out, he was like, "Hey man, I'm fighting for you. If you still on the board when the draft come, I'm gonna put in. I'm gonna put in for you." So I go through this semester. My mom, she's like, "You been working out?" I'm like, "Meh. I'm doing a little something, but I ain't doing nothing too crazy." She's like, "I think you should probably be working out because you might get a call." Okay. I'm like, nah, it's over with. So I ain't heard nothing in a minute from nobody. Okay. So right after the draft, it's East Atlanta Day. Gucci having his day over there, East Atlanta at Gresham at the park. Okay. I go out there and ride a 4-wheeler. I get a missed call from a 314 number at St. Louis. Okay. I don't think nothing of it. I checked the voicemail. Hey, this is such and such from the Rams. I told you, right after the draft, if you was available. This is like literally 10 minutes after the draft. And it's crazy because I was pissed off because I was watching cats that I locked up all season getting drafted 6. Bro, I dropped. I had to pull the car over. I'm like, I go into an anxiety like, yo, I done got this call, bro, and I ain't been training the way I was supposed to. He's like, yeah, we're gonna bring you in. Your sign-up bonus will be $1,000. You'll be flown in next week. But let me tell you how God worked. So I literally fly in. This is our rookie mini camp, but it was a new head coach. And when a new head coach comes in, the vets have to stay and do rookie mini camp too. Right. So I ain't have to do a lot of reps. Oh, gave you enough time to get in shape. So gotcha. It's crazy, how that worked out. And like I said, from then bounced around in the league a little bit. Made the roster I made the practice squad, and then ended up finishing off the season at the roster my first year. The next year, Art Valero, who was our O-line coach, went to Seattle. He was like, hey, you should be playing on this level. And it's crazy because my first year with the Rams, I was listed on the roster as a DB. Right. They used to call me Baby Hester because I was listed as a DB, but they actually moved me to the offensive side. Okay. So I finished the season at receiver. Okay. And then when I did my exit at the end of the year, they were like, well, what position? I'm like, I want to go back to DB. Because they brought a cat in from another team off his practice roster. And I'm like, y'all just activated him right away. Right. So I'm like, I want to compete for the DB spot. I ended up getting cut the next year because they drafted a slew of corners. And then Art Valero was like, hey, if you get cut from here, he was like, give me a call.
Okay.
So the Rams released me. I call him like, hey, they just cut me. Boom. I'm on a flight the next day to Seattle. I get signed right away.
Wow.
Get there. I spent like the first 5 weeks bouncing up and down. Practice squad cut me. And this is when I started understanding the agent part.
Okay.
Because my agent called. He's like, hey, the Patriots want to bring you out for a workout.
Right.
You know, anybody know the Patriots call? It's a good opportunity that you can, if you get on their practice roster, somebody's gonna pick you up. It's known across the league because of how they prep and all that kind of stuff. So my agent, he's like, man, the Patriots just called, but I feel like it'll give me leverage to go back to Pete and tell them that the Patriots want you. So let's just, and I'm like, man, they done took me off the roster and brought me up and down 3 times, bro.
Right.
Like, let's go ahead. Nah, I think it'll be best, man. You haven't even left Seattle yet. Like, I hadn't even got on the plane yet.
Right.
So he calls them back, and they bring me back one more week to cut me at right after practice that Wednesday.
Wow.
Now, I was on the roster at 12, so I still got paid for that week.
Right.
But okay, I get cut this week. Now the Patriots and I already filled that spot.
Yeah.
So I missed the rest of the I probably was out for like another 3 or 4 weeks. I came back home, I trained, and then I got signed in Minnesota. Spent 1.5 years there, and then spent my 4th year just in training camp with the Saints. Off-season training camp with the Saints.
So you was all over the league.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I never played for an AFC team. I was only NFC.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And then so that experience in itself taught me a lot. And then that's when my grown man moments came in 2012. Like only making like $12,000 being on the NFL roster. Yeah. Like go broke that year. Like real life started.
Let's unpack that. So you made $12K on how did that work?
Because I only was paid for workouts during the off season, and then my vet training camp pay. Wow. And then once I got cut right before the season started, that's what I made that year.
So what did you do to get by at that time? Just working odd jobs?
I ain't do nothing. I just trained. Matter of fact, I take that back. No, I trained, and then my agent was like, hey, it's a UFL team.
Okay.
I think another coach that I had impressed while I was playing was the D coordinator for the Vegas Locos, who was just coming off of a championship, as a matter of fact. Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, man, this league will be good. I think it paid $4,000 per week, housing covered.
Okay.
Bet. I go out there, I fly out there, get out there, start off the couch, start. Okay. The league folds at the end of the game.
Wow.
Bro, like we're in the locker room, they like,
that's it.
We in Nebraska playing in Nebraska, one of the teams. And they like, the league just folded. We like, what that mean? They like, oh, it's done. Like, we technically don't even have to fly y'all back to Vegas. We get on the plane, they get us back to Vegas, then they're like, well, shoot, the league folded. We have no funds, no nothing. We might not even be able to get y'all home. You might not even get your check.
Right.
So I done flew out here with
nothing.
And
I'm leaving with nothing.
So I go back to New Orleans. Me and my girl I was dating at the time, she was working at the post office, so she was straight. So I just trained, did what I needed to do, and then I ended up coming back home, and that was beginning of 2013. I came back home, and that might have been. I came back home. I started training with Ernest Ross. Okay. I went up to his gym. I was like, hey, I ain't got no money. I can't afford to pay you, but if you let me sweep, train kids in here, you know what I'm saying? I stuck around, and Ernest was like, I got you. And that year ended up just being a blessing in disguise. And my mentor, he was like, you not getting out of football what you want because you're not keeping the main thing. So at this time, I had started like, I need to invest money in this. Hey, somebody got this going on. I need to do this. And that's where like all this stuff, it was an unpacking of me really just trying to figure out ways to invest money and do this and do that. And in those mistakes, my mentor, he was like, and he owns like 3 Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Right. And he's like, you're not keeping the main thing. So I came home, I made a commitment. I was like, I'm just gonna train.
Right.
I just trained. This was my dad's last few months of living, and I would legit go to the gym, train, come back home, take care of him with his dialysis. That was my routine every day. I'm talking about like $30, like for the week. You know what I'm saying? Like, so in that, I let my car go, I let my house go, I let a lot of stuff go that year. But that was the most freeing I had felt the whole time because I let the material stuff go and I focused on
what was important.
Yeah, and then I ended up getting signed the day my dad passed.
Wow.
Like literally with his body still in the room. Like I walk in, he had just passed away. We sitting in there with the family, with my family and stuff. My agent called, he was like, hey, the BC Lions, they're gonna sign you. They just traded, they had already traded for me from the Argos. I didn't even know. I was like, how they trade? He was like,
didn't even know what's going on.
The Argos had your rights this year. And I think when I got to BC, that's when they told me, like, yeah, we had your rights every year. But they said, we figured that you always got re-signed to the league. So that year we just kind of, you know what I'm saying, forwarded over. And like I said, got up there and that's when my career took off. Wow. All-star year, led the league in picks. Came back the following year. They moved me to another position, excelled in that. My third year with them, they brought in a new coach. But really put me in a position, like I said, where I started really learning and I started understanding the business better. Right. You know what I'm saying?
So fast forward to what you're doing right now. Like the end of your, and this is important for agents because a lot of times we have players that they don't even have as much success like you do. Once they're done, as far as they don't get a call, pro day or whatever, they're done. What did you do, I guess, as a player that made you say, all right, you know what? This is it. This is, I'm done with this chapter in my life. I want to go somewhere else.
Shit, I didn't. I'm going to be honest with you. I watched one of my teammates do his branding and stuff like that while we played. And I studied that. And I was like, damn, like he would network, he would go to events that the team had, like with the investors and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, man, I'm not going to that. But I started paying attention to what, like, number one, it gave him longevity in the game. Okay. Because he became like kind of the face. You know what I'm saying? Like he was a face guy. Everybody loved him. You know, all that kind of stuff. But also too, I saw what he was doing as far as his brand and stuff like that. So really, when it came down to me transitioning, it was tough. That was another tough phase because coming back home and people only seeing, because I played for 9 years and I've been playing football since I was 5. So people only saw me for that. Right. So being dumped back into it is like, I compare when you play a sport for the amount of time, the guys who play over, most guys who don't play, they don't have a problem with transitioning. I don't know if you paid attention to that. Most guys who come in and do 1, maybe 2 years or do 1 year, they just be like, they gone. I'm good.
Do something else.
It's us who play over 5. Right. Because your identity is stuck in that. Right. It's a piece of you now. Okay. You know what I'm saying? It's something that people, that's what they see you for. So it was just tough for me on that aspect because I came back. I think that's when I first started the training, trying to figure out what it was. Then like, okay, I want to train over in the hood where I grew up in. A lot of the parents ain't
no money in the hood.
You know what I'm saying? Folks is telling me, they like, man, you need to go to Roswell. I'm like, nah, I want to take care of my area, my people. And going through the bumps and bruises of that and even making mistakes in that process. Right. And like really getting that opportunity when I went to Desi's show. Okay.
And so, yeah, that fast forwards us to right now. So let the people know exactly, because I don't even know what you do. Right. What is it that you do?
So I manage talent. So I've been for the past 3 since 2017, the end of 2017 going into 18. Working with in management, so managing talent. So I started off working with Desi Banks. Okay.
So how did that pop off?
How did it pop off? From football. Okay. So Desi was training with Ted before Ted had the gym over there. This was when Ted was training at the church with Ren. Okay. So this is while I was still playing.
Okay.
So I think Desi popped off on Vine first.
Wow.
So I would see his videos while I was up in Canada playing.
Okay.
And we always stayed in touch. And then when I would come back home and train, we would train together and all that kind of stuff. And then this one particular time, as he was blowing up, I remember going to one of his like second or third shows.
Okay.
And just observing. And that's how my mind worked. I get the places and I observe. And then I think I went to another show, which was in New Orleans. Like I just drove down on my own to support and be there. And then the coach / paying me is just like, okay, now I'm starting to critique. I'm like, hey, you know, be confident when you're on stage. Be this, be that, work. And I don't know nothing about comedy. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just up there. He like, so I remember having a conversation with him because he ended up riding back with me. And I was like, hey man, you got, I think at this time he had like close to 400,000 followers.
Okay.
I was like, hey man, you got all these followers, you ain't getting no deals, man. Like I said, Nike ain't reaching out. I said, man, that's a lot of people. And that's just the inquisitive me. I'm like, man, such and such. So he was like, nah, man, you know, I don't got nothing. So we driving again. I brought it up again. I'm like, so you ain't got nobody? I said, that's a lot of people.
Right.
So I got back home and my homegirl who worked with Aisha, she worked with Kanye, she worked with Future, like she was a stylist for them at the time. I was like, hey, I got my homeboy. I ain't thinking nothing. I'm like, this my homeboy, he got a lot of followers.
Right.
I'm like, these brands ain't, you know, they throwing some clothes, do this, do that. She was like, it's a little bit deeper than that, but she was like, you sound like you stepping into management. I'm like, nah. I said, I'm just trying to do a favor, connect some dots and whatnot and move out the way. She was like, nah, it sound like management. I'm like, nah, I don't want to answer emails.
All right.
Because that's what my perception of it was. Like, I'm going to be sitting behind a computer and answer email. And she goes, nah, I think you should really think into it. She breaks down what it is. And I'm like, So I go home. I get on the computer, I start looking at some stuff. I started contacting some people that I knew who had been in the industry, asking them questions and stuff like that. And my sister's fiance at the time, he had been doing music stuff and stuff like that for a minute. So I asked him and he was like, man, it's easy. You just doing this and you doing that. I mean, you got connections already. You just connecting them with this and this and that. And I'm like, okay. So then I hit Desi back and I asked him one more time. And he was like, man, you keep asking me this. If you feel like you got somebody that could do it, man, just go and do it. And I'm like, all right. I was like, give me 90 days. I said, give me 90 days. Let me start, you know, working some stuff. Let me start calling some people. And that's when I started learning, like, while I was playing ball, a lot of my classmates were already, I'm finishing ball at 30. A lot of my classes have went up the ranks in different.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I got a classmate who over at Facebook. I got a classmate who's over at Twitter. I got somebody who's over at. So all these people who I maintained good relationships with while I was in school have moved up the ranks in different places.
Gotcha.
So I started cold calling. I started cold calling people like, hey, I'm working with an influencer. If y'all ever need somebody to advertise the brand, you know, he got this, he got that. And they're like, oh, those are good, you know, those are good numbers and stuff like that. And I just started cold calling and then I started answering emails. Then deals started coming through and I'm negotiating them. And I'm like, hey, have you made this kind of money before? He was like, nah. I'm like, okay, well, I know I'm doing the right thing.
right.
So then from there, it just was like, okay, going from $1,000 to $2,000 to $5,000, and then it kept going up and up from there. And then we started doing the shows, and like you say, then you know the emails and things that were coming in, going through those, and then doing stuff with the NFL, doing stuff with the Hawks. I mean, it just led to, you know, opening many doors.
You said a lot right there I want to unpack. So basically what you're saying that the stuff that you were doing for Desi is stuff that you learned as you got into the industry. There's nothing that really learned in college, just stuff that you
this was, I don't think I learned on the job, and I don't think I could have paid for the lessons that I learned, negotiating the contracts, standing firm, knowing brands, knowing the numbers, like being a visionary too. Because I often told him at the time, like, don't look at your page as just followers, look at it as a TV channel. That was always my perspective on it. It's your own TV channel and people are tuning into your channel.
And that's important for people to realize, because with the name, image, and likeness, athletes are now the new influencers. So, from your standpoint, your expertise, what are some things that you think athletes should be doing to be able to monetize that? And what are some things that agents can do to help their clients monetize it?
They should be filming everything. Everything that they're doing.
Everything, just football, basketball, baseball related, or off the field?
Lifestyle, off the field. I feel content is king.
Okay.
And I know we throw the content word around a lot, but I'm talking about if your client is if he's in the shoes, look at building him a shoe show. Get him going in the shop for shoes. Connect him with some of the stores that are locally in his city or in the place that he's playing in. If he's in the cars, you have things that people want to connect more with the person, and I think we often forget that when it comes to athletes. Once they take the helmet off, once they take the jersey off, people want to know. Like you said, they're influencing more than just clothes and stuff like that. Right. People see the cars they're driving. People see the food they're eating. Like there are many hobbies and things that athletes have that people like, dang, I didn't even know such and such like to cook. This dude can have a cooking show. Right. But like you said, we get so in on, okay, well, focus on the game, which I get it. But if a guy isn't excelling, you know what I'm saying? If those things are distracting from the main thing, then hey. But if we're talking about somebody that's excelling, like there are so many things because people want to connect with the person. We forget that connection. Like I want to know that you're a person. I want to know who that person is, what you enjoy doing. You know what I'm saying? You like riding horses. Like I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it's more to the person than just who is behind mask.
So what do you think athletes are doing right now from, we just name, image, and likeness just started in July of 2020. So what are you viewing athletes doing? Like, all right, what is the number one mistake that you think that they're doing that agents can, I guess, help? Because a lot of these players and parents will think, well, I could just do it myself.
Yes.
And you technically can, but then you're skipping out on study hall. You're not really doing the stuff that you need. You're not keeping the main thing, like you said.
Absolutely.
So as a professional manager, agent, somebody like that, what can they do to, I guess, bring value to their clients?
Oh man, it's okay. We're gonna take this to a kid who's excelling like on the field.
You know what? I think it's easy for those guys. That's the easy one. Yeah. Like for the guy at Virginia State, the sophomore quarterback at Virginia State, who's probably not going to make it, but they have influence, have a platform right now, and they need to be able to dominate that field right now. That could set them up for when they graduate.
The first thing is figuring out the person. Like you say, if Ed at Virginia State is walking around campus and everybody asking him about the stuff he's wearing, he needs merch.
Okay.
That's the first step. It's the first step. You know what I'm saying? Helping him build a lasting brand. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Does it have to be a t-shirt with his name and face? No, it may be a actual line.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it can start off with just being a printed t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? It can start off with something just that simple. I think the next thing would be, it's so much stuff. You got swag, but like it's unlimited things that can be done. Cause like you say, once we open up the person, once we open up the things that they like doing, once we open up, those different avenues, you start to learn more about the athlete, and it makes it easy to work with them too. Because you're doing stuff that they enjoy doing instead of trying to just throw things. Let's see if they stick at the wall.
Right. And so after they, I guess, develop the merch, because I'm seeing a lot of people they're making merchandise, but what is the right and wrong way to do that? Because some people just put an image on a shirt and get no sales. Like, what is the difference between somebody whose store is booming and somebody who merch is not selling?
I think the difference is those who find out, they understand. A lot of times when we're sitting in designs and we're going over certain things, people are specifically thinking about what I like.
Okay.
And not what the audience. A lot of the time, the people are they're telling you what they want from you, but we don't pay attention. So that's what I do. Whoever I'm working through, when they posting stuff, when they're working on stuff, I'm going through the comments and I'm looking. And I'm saying, okay, these people are saying this over and over and over and over again. There ain't something sticking. That's how A Parlay became a thing. Hey, parlay became a thing because I'm looking at the videos and I'm like, dang, bro, people, they are spitting this back. Mm-hmm. And this legit became something that sold 500 units in an hour.
Wow. And so parlay's not even real.
I can't speak to that.
Okay, I
can't speak to that.
Gotcha. Okay.
I can't speak to that.
So what are you doing? I guess like what is the future for for Core and for the management? Like I got a feeling that you're going to, because it sounds like what you're doing is a lot of the stuff we do as agents. Like, have you thought about getting into the agent space?
It's crazy, man. I just shot you a text about that the other day. I said I'm gonna go ahead and join the Checkmate family. Go ahead and get my certification because I understand. I negotiated my last 2 contracts while I was playing in the CFL.
Wow.
But that came from reading some books and like really diving into it and understanding the business.
Okay.
But yeah, I think for me, it's definitely providing these opportunities from the relationships I've been able to establish from building the brands with Desi and with Aristotle and a couple other people I work with. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, now how can we take this and build and cross it over to student athletes?
Dope. Yeah, man, because I think what you're doing is powerful because you've been doing it for the last 4 or 5 years, the stuff that agents are getting into now. We've always had the marketing agents, but a lot of the agents, what we did was just contract negotiation and then sponsors would come in. But I think now it's going to be more about cultivating that brand. Yeah. So that's why, when you reached out and said you wanted to work with Checkmate, that was a dream come true because I feel like you are already the expert in that. And so for us to merge, I think that's dope, man. And, that's
a lot. I think it's a lot. Once we start to tap in with these different people and get them to understand it's a strategy. Like it's a strategy behind it. It's really sitting in these meetings and figuring out what's going on and like you say, checking the temperature and seeing the pattern of what's going on and not like trying to reinvent something, but like you say, taking like I'm excited about the space now because I'm actually able to take a entrepreneur, a business owner, and maneuver them through the industry like they're a celebrity. Man, that's fun, bro. It's fun because it's like flying private, doing this, doing that, and it's like now I can show other kids like you don't have to throw a football, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that, and look at the lifestyle that he's living.
Okay, so Cord, you said something that I thought was powerful when you said, I want you to break it down for me, when you talk about how players that they look at their followers as, what should they look at their followers like?
So like a lot of times we look at the followers and we don't understand like that they really have, they come to your page and they tell you what they want.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we try to force them what we think they want, right? So even when it comes to content, you're going to throw stuff out there that's going to hit and it's going to miss. But what you got to do is pay attention to the things that people really talk about, the things that people are commenting the most about. But I'm going to tell you right now, the first rule of thumb that most athletes do with their pages is they too Hollywood. They don't comment back. They don't engage with the audience. They don't answer DMs. So a lot of time that person becomes like they're not real. They're not tangible.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And it became, remember when we were growing up, a lot of people weren't tangible. And it made it like this elitist type thing.
Right.
Now, if you're not tangible, you're not connecting with your audience enough. So, I see it as being opportunities for players to really bridge that gap. If you're not doing email, text, all that stuff right now in this digital age, capturing data, data is money.
So as agents, as people just working with athletes, how do you get your clients to understand that? Because a lot of them say, especially if you're dealing with, divas, the star players, they don't want to do that.
Right.
So should you take it in your own hands and do it for them, or do you put that responsibility on them?
I mean, I'm one of them people that I want to provide as much as I can. So if I'm gonna build a team around you that's gonna get it done. Okay. I'm gonna build a system. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna get it done. So I really don't feel like you have a choice. If you want to, I think right now, if I'm a player, I want to figure out a way to match my income on the field, off the field.
And why is that important?
Because it gives you the leverage to walk away from the game whenever you're ready.
Wow.
I think I learned that from Tim Carter.
Okay.
So my rookie year, Tim Carter, when I played for the Rams, Tim Carter would be in meetings. Tim Carter paid attention. He did everything. But I'll never forget, I was looking at I wanted a 6 Series BMW. And Tim was like, he was like, I'll sell you my 5 Series. I'm like, nah, I want a 6.
Right.
Brand new, da-da-da. Well, Tim had 5 Popeyes and Tim had 5 group homes.
Wow. Tim
was like, Corey, man, I make my salary off the field like 2 times over. I was like, it stuck to me the older that I got, but looking back at it, I'm like, so he was like, yeah, I don't give a damn if they cut me tomorrow.
Life still goes on.
I'm straight.
Don't miss a beat.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel there's so much power in being able to walk away from the game when you're ready. Wow. Versus scratching and clawing to come back and say, please bring me back for one more season.
Right.
You know, I was on the team that flew down to bring Brett Favre back, to pay him that $18 million a year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a different type of thing when somebody flies down private, puts you on the private to fly you back and then pay you that type. You know what I'm saying? To see a game check for it's crazy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what we got to start leveraging ourselves as, you know, because that changes the whole demographic of the CBA. That gives us a lot of power as players when we start leveraging our brands and taking it serious. The owners and stuff don't want you to take your brand serious and understand the amount of leverage and power that you have and the things that you can do, because you then start to overshadow the shield. And we know, you know how the shield is. The shield don't play like that. All costs. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, look at what LeBron has done with the production company and all that kind of stuff, man. You can strictly play for the love at that point versus playing for check.
Necessity.
Yeah, you know, it's a difference when you can play like that. Your performance is better. You know what I'm saying? So imagine being able to go in there when you already financially set. Now your training is different. You just got a different mindset when you're not worried about this offseason. You know, it's a different mindset. So if I'm an agent, if I'm a player right now, I'm really looking at the different odds and ends, and I'm connecting with, like, I'm loving to see players right now taking their checks through, you know, crypto and all that kind of stuff, the stuff we talk about all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm love seeing guys really taking, you know, financial literacy serious. So really it puts you in a space to be able to have different conversations.
Right. And so I'm curious, you know, just to wrap it up, man, what are something that if people are just entering into the space, you know, what are something that they can do that could give them, I guess, a heads up over everybody else? Because I'm one of those people that like to see the future, you know, and I see that athletes are the new influencers. And I also see that everybody's about to start rushing into the space. So what are some things that you're going to do or you think people can do to separate themselves from the masses that are entering the space?
So some things that I look at as being some things that can set you apart. I say adding value in everything that you're doing. Honestly, I know that's a very vague,
clubhousey type word phrase.
You know, just add value, man. Learn how to pivot. Really, I mean, honestly, it's really sitting down, strategizing, and like you said, it's not reinventing the wheel, but really building a system where guys, number one, trust you. They understand the different things that you bring to the table, like you said, and being able to come up with thought-provoking and innovative ideas, but it's got to be trust there. And a lot of the time, that's the issue, is like, how much do I got to prove to you for you to see that I've done this with this person, and this person?
Right.
Just follow you know what I'm saying? Just follow
the recipe.
Follow the recipe.
Yeah.
You know? And I think a lot of times once we start dropping our ego, a lot of stuff can get done. So, if I'm just looking from seeing where things are going, man, capturing data.
Okay.
Moving people over to your own platform.
Okay.
And I don't give a damn if it's a little simple little app, a web page. Like, you gonna have to. What I'm definitely seeing with a couple of my clients right now is shadow banning is real. So if you start hitting that algorithm a couple different ways, your stuff will be seen less, even down to searching you.
Wow.
Like if you go under, like if you get hit with a warning, like you being searched can change stuff.
Wow.
So, you know, I look at these platforms as they funnels.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And we always gonna get the drip that's down at the bottom. Right. But imagine how many dollars are being dropped into the top of that funnel.
Right.
The YouTubes, the Instagrams, the Facebooks, man, it's trillions of dollars being dumped into the top of that, that's being spit out, that's being dripped out to different people. So how can we take this audience or this group of fans and supporters and migrate them over to a different platform that's catered to them, that can get them merged, that can get them exclusive opportunities, that can get them where you may be posted up at, signing autographs, just like creating your own little ecosystem.
All right, there. That's the $1 billion question right there. Well, yeah, man. I appreciate you coming on the show, man. Definitely. I know that you're a busy individual, man. So what's some things that you would just like to lead the people with as far as some words of encouragement and, you know, just way that they can get in contact with you?
I think my biggest thing right now is telling people to just the Nike form, just do it. A lot of time we spend so much time trying to figure it out, and one of the best things for me has just been figuring out as I go. Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time sitting here trying to plan it. Let's go do this, and then as we bump our head, as we move through and as we maneuver through it, you're gonna start to see that it's working. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times people, they waiting for the right moment, or let me look at this, and like you send me some crypto stuff. I trust you, your information. Hey, I'm going in. You know what I'm saying? Like, once you build that trust with people, like I said, we seen it. How many opportunities you missed to invest on something because you sitting back like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just wait to this. Yeah. And that's the same thing when it comes to building your brand. That's the same thing when it comes to taking opportunities. I don't want to miss an opportunity because I'm sitting here trying to analyze it the whole time. Right. Let's jump out here and let's execute. So that's really what I live my stuff out for. I tell people, if you're going to work with me and you say this is the stuff that you want to do, don't tell me, because tomorrow is going to be in your face. Right. then when it's in your face, I don't want to hear no, whoa, slow down. Right. Nah, these are the things that we talked about. This is what you want to do. So let's do it. You know what I'm saying? So, and yeah, like I said, I have to even do that with myself. Like putting stuff out there and like stuff that I've had to learn on the fly. It's like, it actually made me perform. Right. But that come from, man, football is the game of life, bro. I don't care what nobody say. It's no other sport like it.
That's a whole nother show right there.
That's a whole, yeah. Like, it's the game of life, bro. Like,
and how can the people get in contact with you?
Hey, man, you can follow me at CPTWO number 9 for opportunities as far as like, I'm pretty open on there. I answer DMs. I talk to people all the time, but for consulting, I come in and help people, like you say, with strategy and stuff like that throughout the time. So you just shoot me a DM. My email is on there. Stuff like that, man.
Marketing genius right here, guys. So appreciate you coming on, man. And,
appreciate it.
Let's get to work, man.
You know it.
All right. What's going on, everybody? It's Edward Davis from Checkmate Sports. I just want to let you guys know that we launched the first ever sports agent themed merchandise store. So if you want to get a shirt like this that says Sports Agent Matter, we have shirts, phone cases, cups. We have everything that you could want to become a sports agent. If that's something that interests you, click the link below, go into our merch shop, and I'll see you over there. All right, take care.